everyone. Welcome to BowTieSecurityGuy After Dark. This is episode 29. My guest today is Andrew Crotty. Did I say your name right?
You
Or did I
did.
do it? Okay,
No,
good.
excellent.
Yeah, I always forget to actually ask my guests how to pronounce their name until I'm actually saying their name. I've been wanting to have you on the podcast for a while. For those of you who don't know the Ginger Hacker, he shares a ton of content online. He's got a charity, and we'll talk about all that. But how did it start? How did you even get into technology, or what kind of inspired you to kind of go into this field?
Yeah, Robert, thanks for having me first off. And yeah, the journey that got me to where I am today is kind of a very not it's not like one off, but it's just like it was definitely a long time coming. So before I got into cyber, roughly about 8, 10 years ago now, I was actually in law enforcement with the city of Phoenix. I was a particular crimes detective. In tandem with that, I've been in the military for just over 17 years. And I enlisted and I've been in the Army Reserves my entire career, and initially started off as a military police officer, transitioned into like cyber threat intelligence. And then just this 2 years ago, commissioned as a warrant officer and been part of our cyber protection team with the reserves. So as I kind of started my journey, kind of loving computers, I'm a game nerd. I play D&D. I kind of, when I got into the cyber unit, probably like 8 years ago, I'm like, man, this cyber stuff is really kind of cool. It's kind of like police work. You work for an organization that you're trying to protect. You're trying to keep out the bad guys. If a crime or something bad happens, you write a report on it and you try to find what happened. And with a lot of my law enforcement background, I kind of found I kind of had a niche for it. So I was lucky enough to get my security plus. I went to back to school to get my master's in cybersecurity because, like any cop, I had a criminal justice degree with a certificate in Homeland Security. And I was lucky enough with my networking skills and just having good mentors to kind of direct me into my first role, where I was actually working for the state of Arizona Department of Homeland Security. From there, I did an amazing 9 months of kicking my butt, working really hard, making mistakes, owning up to said mistakes, and just learning and growing. And with great hard work came other opportunities. I actually got picked up by Wells Fargo, went to Wells Fargo for 2 years as well, worked in their SOC. Fantastic team, fantastic organization, and just needed further growth. And that's where I now currently sit. I'm currently working at Leidos, and I work for one of our federal contracts. And I just kind of kept kind of just going with the punches and really leaning into things. But I realized that when I was breaking cyber, I was very lucky to have mentorship that helped kind of guide me along that path. So thus 2 years ago, roughly, the Ginger Hacker YouTube channel was born. And I was kind of made off a dare, but I decided to make my niche the kind of story of how I broke into cyber. And then I began to run with that series of like, oh man, I'll run a series called Breaking into Cyber, where I pretty much talk to everyone from juniors and seniors in college of why they're going for cybersecurity, how they obtained internships, share that with their freshman and junior counterparts. And then everyone across the spectrum of level one IT help desk, system admins, directors, CISOs, John Hammond, Jason Dion, Bailey Marshall, Brianna Schultz, Dakota Snow, just everyone and anyone within the tech field getting to share their story of how they broke into cyber. Because as you know, and I know, everyone's story is a little bit different. And just like mine, where this kind of got to lead into, it's opened doors on getting to network, getting to go to conferences, getting to give talks, learning, finding new mentors and mentees for me to kind of give back to. And that's why just in September, and we're very still in our infant stages, the Ginger Hacker Initiative was born. I know this is super long winded. I promise I'm almost done. So with the Ginger Hacker
You're
Initiative,
fine.
it kind of stemmed off a lot of my support with Josh Mason, who runs a new village at DEF CON. And I kind of got to see the amount of give back we were able to do at DEF CON, where I'm like, you know what? I want to do that here in the Valley in Arizona. And I decided to kind of run with it. And yeah, we did a cool silent auction. We got some awesome, cool partnerships with SANS and CompTIA and EC Council and a few more handfuls coming up this year. Not going to give it away yet. But yeah, the amount of feedback that we kind of get to do, where we get to help folks break into cyber with a little bit of mentorship, a little bit of community, and then also that financial, getting to replace that burden where we sponsor their certification and their training. So, and I understand, and you know, and I know certifications aren't everything. That's not what
Yep.
makes a good analyst or an engineer. However, some organizations in the industry do like to see that CEH, the Security Plus,
For
8570
sure.
compliance to get them through that HR algorithm. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's been my journey of how and why I got to where I am today.
Well, I found it interesting, right? Because a buddy of mine kind of said like, "Hey, you should talk to Andrew. You guys are basically doing the same thing on different sides, right?" And I was like, "Oh, cool." And then we met, kind of hit it off immediately, and I was like, "You're like, hey, you should come hang over here with GingerHacker," and I was like, "Awesome." You're like, "You should join the board." I'm like, "Cool, let's join the board." And then like it was just something that I had considered doing too, and you had already put in all the work. So I was like, why would I be like, I would be like competition for helping people. Like, it just seemed so stupid to me.
and it
Like,
and it's you're spot on the money, and that's why it's like people try to ask us like what makes you different than any other nonprofit. I'm like, in true transparency, like they're probably very identical, if not the same.
yeah,
It's the same kind of vehicle, maybe some different wheels, different kind of polish or color, but it's just like I emphasize to people like we're not another cohort. I'm not trying to spin up another try hack me, hack the box, or
no,
that type of a
yeah,
community. It's another great community you can be a part of that's honestly just trying to give back. That yeah, it's me and Danny Meyer, who's like one of my co-founders and my partner in crime, we were actually reaching out to organizations to kind of be to try to help do stuff. And Josh Mason with New Village took us under his wing, but we were wanting to do more. So we were reaching out to nonprofits and we were getting
yeah,
crickets. And so
yeah.
I'm like, Danny, I'm like, you want to just make our own? He's like, yeah, dude, let's do it. And yeah, that's how
Yeah,
we got to where we are today.
well, what I find unique about kind of, and we'll get off the community. Like, obviously, we're gonna plug your stuff because it's awesome, and I like it, and I share about it all the time. But really, it is a unique community because there are people like me. There's other Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 executives who are like hanging out. Like, we'll get on a call at like 10 o'clock at night with a bunch of newbies and just shoot the S and answer questions while we're working on some project or something.
Yeah.
I mean that to me I think is just I joked with one of the other guys who works at a Fortune 100 who's part of the group, and I was just like, these kids have no idea, right? Like they don't understand the education they're getting kind of firsthand, and it's something I think they'll realize later. And like you mentioned, kind of mentoring and finding mentors and networking is so critical
Yeah.
to
Very.
these new people because when you open an entry level role, you're not gonna hire a random person. You're gonna hire a known entity.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Loved your
It's
video and your conversation on that you shared, by the way, because I'm like, oh my
yeah,
God, that's spot on.
yeah. Well, it's so easy to forget. Like when you're taking a chance on someone, you're not gonna do it from a 30-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Like it's just not going to happen. Like you may blow my socks off, and there were people who made it into the final five with the role that I had open that were not on my radar. I didn't know who they were. They were a referral from somebody else, but they crushed it. They came in, they were ready, they were prepared. But it comes down to like the most minute things. One of my mentees missed out on it because he couldn't focus on the screen. He kept looking away. It was a nerve thing.
Mm, yeah.
Um, but that was the difference. That confidence and that calm confidence that one other person had meant he didn't make it into the final three. And sometimes it comes down to that when, especially for entry level roles, because like everybody's very similar in spec. Like, how can you actually identify who's the best without getting really nitpicky, unfortunately?
It's it's funny when I talk to mentees when it's like, hey, like what's the best way to break in? I'm like, well, personally, it's one having a really strong foundation.
Yeah.
With strong foundation skills, the rest can be, it's like when building a house. You're not going to build a house on the sand because it's just going to fall apart in a few months.
Yep.
You really want to hone in on your focusing on your foundational skills. And then from there, you can build upon that. And I tell people like, look, like I could refer you to 100 different places and guarantee you an interview with a hiring manager. But at the end of the day, you have to be the best candidate to get to the next
Yeah.
step or the next rung. And by just like you said, kind of applying yourself, practicing, like I hate technical interviews. I'll be the first one to say it. I
Me
know how to
too.
do it. I'm horrible at test taking, but
Yeah.
I can
My,
have
my
that.
my ADHD makes it so I panic, right? Like
Yes.
I
Yep.
get overwhelmed. And I've done videos on that too where I'm like, if you're interviewing a neurodiverse candidate like you would a regular person, hitting them with questions, they're just gonna freeze. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
mean they don't know it.
Yep.
And that was what makes it very difficult, I think, for a lot of these people is because they lack a lot of the social skills because our field in general
Yeah.
attracts neurodiverse people. Um,
Yeah, I am a
it's a
unicorn,
weird
my boss
job.
says, because I'm an
Yeah.
extroverted IT guy. My
Right.
boss is like, I need to clone you. I need to make copies of you. I need to share you with the world. I'm like, this is what makes me unique.
Yeah. I remember when I was moving on from my role at Disney and we were sitting down with a recruiter and my boss is explaining all the stuff I did. Rob runs 9, teams. He is our technical lead. He runs our incident bridges, and he's the SME and subject matter expert working with the business and helping them. She's like, "Oh, okay, cool. So you want a purple unicorn and you need 3 jobs." Because you're not going to find that. Like it's very hard to find somebody, and I probably like you have worked on my soft skills, right? Because
Yeah.
they're incredibly important, and they're the difference nowadays between finding a job and not getting one. Because there's a lot of really talented people, but there's not a lot of really talented people who can explain to you how talented they are without coming off arrogant.
It's two things that hit a good nerve. Is one, I had a good friend of mine that had that same conversation. So he's in the military. He had to go on a deployment. He's in the reserves. And his boss is like, hey, can you explain to this recruiter like what your job is, what you do? He's like, blah, 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 blah. They're like, cool. So they literally like in a sense had to hire like 3 contractors
Yeah,
to
they
try to, in a
backfilled me
sense, do
with
his
3
job.
role. Yeah, I felt like
And
such an idiot that
and
I had
then what
worked
the
so hard.
my buddy's smart. So then he's like, he asked his boss, like, hey, how much does all that stuff cost? And he kind of
Yeah,
explains, he's like, we need to talk salaries when I get back. And
that
they very much took care of him when he got back from the deployment. But
good.
he is that SME in his field where it's like he can do the work of 3 to 4 people. And it's like that's
Yeah,
fantastic. But also, just like you said, it's I've talked to folks and mentored folks where it's not that they lack the technical skill. They're fantastic. They build projects, they have GitHub
yep.
repositories, they built applications, they've built out their own home lab, but it's those soft skills. And
They just
I'll give you a prime
non-existent.
example, just
Yeah,
not
yeah,
there. And
yeah.
I remember last year at DEF CON, I was getting to talk to some college kids, and you'll chuckle at this when I explain this. So like I was asking non-technical questions. My questions were, hey, you're working in a group with a team, and there's someone in the team that you're not getting along with, and you guys start to butt heads. Can you kind of explain your conflict of how you would work around that?
Oh yeah.
And one of these answers I got, I just laughed. He's like, well, I usually don't like to argue with people, so I probably just ignore them and try to get the work done. And I'm
Cool,
like,
bro.
okay, you could say that, or what they're
Or
looking for is like they're looking for that like that conflict resolution skill set. Are you going to go
yeah,
right to a manager? Or are you going to do
yeah.
exactly what you just said and just kind of like throw up walls and just get your work done, which we know is not the right answers. That's not
No,
what the point of the question's for.
nope.
And I kind of had to explain that. I'm like, look, I understand that that might be your persona or what you usually do, but I'm like, to better context of what they're looking for, this is what that question is actually looking for. And then I had another one. I had another another student where I'm like, same thing. I'm like, not gonna hit him with a technical question. Like it was those personal questions, the problem solving
Yeah.
questions of how do they think. And I asked, okay, you're working a project, and all of a sudden you come up to a technical thing that you've never seen before, and it really starts to confuse you, and it's kind of difficult. Walk me through your process of how you would kind of handle a situation you're not familiar with. And bless their heart, he's like, well, I usually don't get stuck that bad because I'm pretty smart. So I mean, I'd probably just figure it out. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you
Cool,
could
bro.
say that, or
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 well, and
and,
I think that's a really big thing, right? Is and anyone listening, like the way you answer questions and the way you propose questions, you have the interviewer has approximately 30 minutes to get to know you and
yep,
to kind of understand you. And I agree that it's garbage that you have to kind of put on a show. I agree that it sucks
yeah,
that it's very personality based now and it's very much not about skills. Like I would rather hire somebody who has a good personality, who has some technical, than hire someone who's really technical who's an ass. Like
yeah,
it's just not worth the investment. Because the way that a bad person can bring down a team and just change the entire morale of a team, I've seen
mm-hmm,
one too many times. So it's all about not one of the hardest questions every new person has is tell me about yourself.
mm-hmm,
Like that is one that just destroys people. And it's like 20 minutes into it, they haven't even talked about their technical stuff and they've been rambling.
So let me ask you this actually, Robert, because
Sure.
I have a new way of how when they ask me, hey, tell me about yourself, Andy, because back in the day when Andy used to answer that question, it was a pretty much regurgitation of my resume, which I know is
Yeah.
not really the answer they want.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is like when I say, hey, Andy, tell me about yourself, usually I say, well, you have your resume in front of me. So you have a relatively decent background of what I've been doing. But I actually tell them about myself. Hey, I'm married. I got 2 kids. I like to play
Yes.
D&D. I go to the gym. I got
Right.
3 separate friend groups. I have a video game nerd friend group I play. I have an in-person D&D dad group here in my
Yep.
neighborhood. I'm an avid learner. I have a YouTube channel. I run a
Yeah. And
nonprofit.
then tie it into a little bit of the stuff that you've been doing recently and you're done.
Exactly.
And you stop
Exactly.
talking.
Yep.
Like
Because
and
yeah, I've had
that's
that
it.
same issue where I've mentored folks and it's like, hey, tell me about yourself. And I have they send me their resumes. I do, and they start regurgitating their resume. I'm like, all right, stop, restart. I know who you are on paper via resume.
Yeah.
Who are you? It's the
Right. As an
sky.
individual.
It's that Skyrim question when you're starting. Like, who are you? And it's like you can't
Exactly.
skip it. I had to know who you are. So
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
and it tells me a lot about you, right? So just answering that question alone, knowing that you have kids, knowing that you took go to the gym, that tells me you have dedication. It tells me that you're also very career oriented because you want the best for your children, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of information that you get from learning about somebody. And then also, hey, you like playing D&D? Awesome. That means you're imaginative. It means you're able to create stories. It means you're able to adapt on the fly. It's such a simple question and it just decimates people because we're not
Yeah.
very used to talking about ourselves. And majority of these kids that are growing up, they don't have what we had when we were younger, where like you go up and you're like, hey man, you talk to people, you shake their hand. Like right
Yep.
now, everybody
Yep.
everybody they meet is online for the most part. Yeah,
Or on their
and
phone.
or on their phone, right? So it's like, hey, what do you like to do? And it's like a quick couple things, and that's the end of that conversation. You're on to the next thing.
Yep.
It's that shorthand communication, but it doesn't bode well for an interview. So practicing interviewing, I think, is absolutely critical. Like, how were you even able to find mentors? I mean, I know that's a big problem for people.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
personally just straight up asked people, like,
Yep.
hey, I would love to learn more. Can I come hang out? I would love to pick your brain and like you're
Yep.
somebody I look up to. Like, how did you find mentors? Was it very similar?
I was so see my mentor journey is not as difficult as others were
Mhm.
because I had the military. So when I left the military police corps and I went into cyber, I got placed into a cyber protection team. And I swear to God, Robert, I walk into this room, I have CISOs, I have FBI agents, cyber folks,
Right.
including reservists. I have folks that work at Charles Schwab, Lockheed Martin, all these big fancy places where they're the lead dev, they're the CISO, they're the
Right.
CFO, they're a lead agent on this cool case. And I walk in, I'm a cop. I'm here to help you guys do cyber. Hey. So talk about being like the dumbest person that walked into a room. We had folks
Straight
that
up.
had doctorates that taught it
Oh
like
yeah.
in university level. And I'm just like, I'm walking in here like, I got my Sec Plus. What do you guys
Oh
need?
my, that's
And
how I felt when I joined incident response at Disney. Like everyone's prior NSA and like FBI, and
yeah.
I'm like, I used to be
So
a hacker. Can I come hang
yeah.
out?
So with that, I found pretty much this. I tried to like identify the smartest people in the room that were willing to kind of like take me under their wing. And
Yeah,
I just asked questions. And I just
yeah,
when I had to shut up, I just shut up and watch. When they came in, you want to try this out? I'm like, yes, I do. Get on the keyboard, start running some
yep.
commands, doing some cool stuff. And so that's one piece of it where I tell people like if they're looking for that direction, and this is not a recruitment video, not the military is not for everybody. However, comma, the military, all branches, like Coast Guard, Space Force, Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, every organization, every branch has a cyber or intelligence
Yep.
field you can get into. And the amount of that's in a sense how I leveraged and broke myself into cyber. I chose the Army route because I was already in the Army. And in the reserves and in the National Guard, you can reclass. And what reclassing means is, hey, I don't want to be an MP anymore. I still want to stay in the Army. I now want to go do this job. As long as I have the line scores or like the ASVAB that you take in the very beginning of your time
Hmm.
in your career, which you can retake, as long as you meet the line scores to do a new job or a new MOS, you can go and change your MOS. And as long as you find a unit that is willing to take you in, like I did with that cyber unit, they'll say,
Yeah.
yep, we'll take Andrew Crotty and we'll train him up and we'll get him to where he needs to be. And that's how I really broke in. That
Yeah.
and that new network of amazingly bright minds that I fell into with my unit. And that's how I got my first job at the state. One of my majors, who was my boss, knew Ryan Murray and Adam Pena, who at the time were Ryan Murray is now our state CISO here in Arizona, and Adam Pena, who was the SOC manager, is now the director of technology at Mesa Community
Hmm.
College here in Arizona. I interviewed well. I was confident. I kind of explained, hey, look, I'm really just trying to get my foot in the door. It was a
Yep.
senior information security analyst title. When they gave me the job, I'm like, hey, we can remove the senior and you guys can call me junior. They're like, nah, man, that's just for HR purposes. Like, you're going to keep the title senior. I'm like, okay, okay. And that was it. And then I just worked really hard. And I
Yeah.
tell
How
people,
bad was your imposter syndrome? Like, was it
oh
just was it obnoxious like mine was?
oh man. So I am sure you saw this at Disney, but it's just like, so at the state of Arizona, we have almost like an MSP level of like how we can like we work with the DMV, the and all these other downtrace orgs and stuff within the state.
Mhm.
State of Maricopa, City of Phoenix, Arizona's all these cities. And we were the top, like when you send up an RFI, a request for information, guess who was getting it? This guy.
Yeah.
So a guy that's been there for less than a year, who broke out of law enforcement to go into cyber with just like a lot of hard work, dedication, and I showed up and I had a good attitude. I was answering your like CISO state level questions like, hey, this is the CISO from DMV. We're having this issue. Can you look into this? I'm like, yes, I can. Give me a few. And it hit hard, but I worked
Yeah.
my butt off. I asked a lot of questions. I took really, and I tell
Not
people
being
this
afraid
too,
to look stupid is so critically important in
so
this field.
overrated.
It is.
But it
No,
is. And
honestly, it is.
I I answered with confidence, but I found I just like a good intel analyst, I would find a solution or an answer and I'd cite it. So I'd have
Yeah.
sources. I'm like, hey sir, ma'am, team, this is what I found. I have high confidence this is the solution you're trying to find. Please let me know if this answers your RFI. 99.9% of the time, hey, this was fantastic. Thank you so much. That's exactly what we were looking for. I'm like, whew, thank goodness.
Yeah.
And but the thing is too, like getting into this role, like I tell people this, like it took me a year to break into cybersecurity. So I was working in law enforcement, I was married, I was going back to school for my master's, I was trying to get my security plus.
Yep.
So people that are trying to do it, I can do it overnight. You can, but just keep in mind
I mean,
that
you might get lucky. I've seen
you
it
might,
once.
you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
1% small percent chance that those that graduate high school have their sec plus. I'm gonna go make six figures. There's the 1% that do. I won't
Yeah.
say it doesn't exist.
No,
I mean,
I've
like,
seen it.
yeah, I took a pay cut to break into cyber, but I
Most
also
people
with
do.
my
Yeah.
and they do, but with hard work dedication, within 9 months, I broke that six figure. I broke into cyber making six figure range.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the back to full circle for you, yeah, the imposter syndrome, I still get it today, man. And I
Yeah.
work on some pretty cool stuff. And it's just like,
Yeah.
and
But
you know my background, but it's just
I
like
do. Yeah.
it's
And it's something you don't lose. And I think it keeps you
yeah,
humble, right? Like
yeah,
I wouldn't say I have imposter syndrome anymore because I've earned my seat at the table. I've done my
yes,
work and I put in the time. But what I will say is I'm not so I don't think I'm so good that I think I'm the smartest person in the room ever. And I'm not afraid to learn from anyone, regardless of level, regardless of where
hmm
they're at, because somebody could have an idea. And I see it a lot of times with leaders. It's like their idea is the only idea, and I don't throw out complete thoughts. I throw out partial ideas and let my team build on them, so we actually can create something together. Because
yeah.
it's very hard to tell your boss like, hey, I don't think that's the right approach. So I learned very quickly like that's a good way to just operate in a very, very small window where nobody ever questions you and
Yeah.
everything you say is the right way, and you don't get.
I got my team's chat, my text chat with my boss. I'm like, hey, I would recommend this instead. Just want to get your thoughts
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, yeah.
Didn't want to pay it in the call, but
Yeah, and that's really important. And I think when you get a relationship like that with a leader, it's rare.
yeah,
Especially in technology. Technology is a bunch of people who are leaders who are not social who have been doing the tech for so long. They were like, "Hey, you're really good at doing technical. You should now lead the technical teams." And then they don't put any effort into growing as a leader because they're just like, "Why
Mhm.
don't you know this? Just figure it out." That's what I did.
Yeah,
I think it's a mindset.
I learned quickly in my career, and this is also probably stemming from the military, that like I would do briefs and go give briefs for 2-star, 3-star generals. And it's like I'd get done with it and like I'd have like the 1-star, like a major come up to me like, hey, I didn't understand this, but I just didn't want to ask it in the group. I'm like,
Yeah,
I wish you would have, because if you don't understand it, there's probably
a
5
lot of
other
people
people
don't.
that don't. I'm like,
Yes.
so I learned very early in my career, and I did this back at the bank. I would jump on our IR calls, instant response calls, and you'll get a crack out of this. So I would ask those tough questions, and I either got one or two responses. One would be like, "Oh man, that's a really good point. Thanks for bringing that up." Or two, "Why is this tier one answer asking a question?" so, so what I learned to
That
do,
was me a lot. It's like you're
yeah.
not in security. Why do you keep asking these things?
So what I would learn to do, I was very good with my tier twos. I'd message one of my lead engineers, "Hey man, I want to ask this question. Is it going to come off better if I ask it or should you ask it?" No, that's a
Yeah.
good question, but let me ask it. I'm like, cool, thanks. And
Yeah.
they would ask my question.
I've been
Cause
that guy for people many, many times because
yep.
people are afraid. Well, there's some that it comes off arrogant as a lower analyst asking those questions. And then there's others where they don't want to look stupid. They're afraid of looking stupid. And
Yeah.
I always say your most powerful thing is raising your hand and saying, I don't know. I can't tell you how many times I've like stopped a meeting going, okay, cool. You lost me at Kubernetes workflows. Can you explain that to me? Like, I said, look, I'm really smart, but can you explain it to me as if I'm a child? Like, and they would break it down and I'd be like, okay, cool. And then afterwards, people would be like, thank you for that. Like, I had no idea what they were
Yes.
talking about, but like, I didn't want to say anything.
I would get Teams messages. Thank God someone asked that question. I'm like, I know.
Right. Right. Yeah, I just became like the guy who was okay being dumb and they would send me all their questions.
Well, Robert, you'll understand this too. Like with the Ginger Hacker initiative, like me, first off, don't make a nonprofit in quarter 4. No one has money to support you. And
We both learned that by reaching out
yes,
to a ton of
yeah.
people.
but two, I mean, like being a founder of a nonprofit, and like it's kind of like a startup. And it's just like I'm learning so much,
Yeah.
but my transparency when I talk to folks saying, hey, look, I'm new to this world and I'm gonna be a little vulnerable. And when I talk to people and kind of explain the mission, kind of like provide them the why and the ask, I'm like, hey, look, I don't know what questions I should ask you. Here's the ones I've asked previously that seem to get me good responses. But is there anything I should be asking you that I haven't yet? And it's like
Yeah.
I try to like not feed them what I should be getting, but like, hey, like, is there any insight you can provide me that these,
Oh,
because you've
oh
had these
man.
conversations.
Yeah.
A lot of organizations have had these calls before, but this
Yep.
is my first time having these calls before. It's my first time putting together a silent auction.
Yep.
It's my first time I'm trying to attempt to put together a mid-career middle dinner thing before our CactusCon event. That's our local B-sides here in Arizona. But
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of treading new waters for me, and it's been great. It's been a fun learning experience. But yeah, being vulnerable and asking those questions, one, makes
100%.
me look more human, and two, it just like
It
just that
does.
small interaction goes a lot further of a way than just like pretending I know something, because then you lose credibility, and losing
Oh,
credibility is
100%.
huge.
Well, that's like when somebody first asked me, like when they were looking to sponsor some of the stuff on the podcast, they're like, "Hey, can you send me your media kit?" And I was like, what the hell is that? Sure." And I like quickly go on ChatGPT. I'm like, "Help me write a media kit. Here's my amount of followings." And ChatGPT is like, "I got you, Bowtie Security Guy. Let me tell you all about it." But it's really interesting. One of the things that I think is cool, like about the Ginger Hacker initiative, which you can go to at gingerhacker.org and you can check it out. Join our Discord, please. Like it's just a super unique environment that's incredibly encouraging. There is a lot of cyber who is going to try to nickel and dime you. There is a
Yeah.
lot of cyber who is going to be like, yeah, I'll help you, but for $500. You have people who are willing to answer questions. You have people like myself and others who are in there like giving advice. I had somebody message me like before they were going to an interview just to ask some questions, and I was like, "Hey man, I got like 20 minutes. Like, you want to do a mock?" And like as they're driving, I'm doing a mock interview with them.
Nice.
Like that's the type of stuff that like we're here to help, and you're creating a cool community. And anybody also check out his stuff on YouTube also, because he puts out a ton of content and a ton of videos just teaching you the basics. Understand, if you're not putting in the time and the effort, you will not find a job in security, period.
Yep.
If you're not putting the time in meeting with people, if you're not putting stuff out on social, if you're not engaging and becoming a social person, you're not going to make it in this field, because no one will know who you are. No matter how good you are, it's going to be very difficult, because you need somebody in a room talking about you when you're not there in a positive way.
Yeah, personal branding, as silly as it sounds,
So
is
critical.
pretty critical and important because
Yeah.
one, it's you and like 500 other applicants going for this
Yeah.
entry level one position. And
700 in the first 24 hours for the role that or 500 for the first 24 hours. And I finally cut it off at 700 because I'm like, I can't even look at this many
yeah,
resumes.
it when they would open up roles at the bank, like they like, oh, you're gonna keep it open for a week. They would literally shut it down in a day. Oh yeah, we got over 1,000
Mhm.
applicants. Like we have to shut this down so we can
Yeah.
now parse through all the potentials, who's just word vomited on the resume, who's just applying to apply, and who's an actual good, strong candidate to actually interview.
Yeah.
And no, I think it's important. It's so silly. You hit so many nails on the head, and it's just like, yeah, the community's here to help people grow. Like it's funny. I've
Yeah.
had when I went to a local state conference here, it's like I was going and I repped my nonprofit, and they're like, "What do you get out of it?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, like, do you get a kickback? Like, do they pay you? Is it like a subscription thing?" I'm like, "No, it's a nonprofit. There's
Yeah. We literally
like
just help people.
I'm just
That's what...
helping." Yeah, that's it. And they look at me like, "What?" I'm like, "I know it's a weird concept here in the year 2025 that someone's literally just trying to do this to be nice." But I'm like, yeah, there is nothing. I don't get there's no affiliate marketing. There's no I don't get any kickback. It's just I want to give back. And I noticed when I was trying to break in, having that mentorship and like someone that can help, like, hey, is this a good deal? Or hey, is this a good course to go down? Or hey, is this a good concept I should be learning? And having those people in the industry I could talk to and ask and get an honest opinion was
Yeah.
huge. And I'm like,
Right.
some people that I've been mentoring these last 2 years, it's like, yeah, it's really hard for me to find a mentor. And I've taken calls just like yourself, probably Robert, where it's like, hey, I'm free right now. You want to hop on a quick call and chat? Like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, please. And they're
All
like,
the
dude, I've
time.
messaged like 10 people and like they just ignore me. You're the first person that's actually hopped
Yeah.
on a call with me and just let me ask you some questions. I'm like, yeah, man, like I'm just here to help. So
Yeah,
I think
I'm like the worst mentor now, because like when somebody messages me, I go, "Yeah, there's a video for that. I'm not going to repeat it, but I'm going to give you the video." And I'm sure you do the same. You're like, "Hey, happy to talk to you, but I've also recorded all this content. Like, please just take a look at it." And again, we're not getting much. Like, it's covering our fees for our
yeah.
hosting and things like that. It's not like we're making Mr. Beast money here.
Yeah, dude. And it's like I've told people like I'm not trying to be Mr. Beast. I'm not trying to be the next John Hammond or Network Chuck. I'm
No.
like, I'm trying to do the a one-to-one methodology of learning is great. But when you get to a point where you're getting hit up 30, 40 times a month, it's easier to do the one to many. And one to
Yeah,
many is just a YouTube video. Hey, a 15, 20-minute video on a
bingo.
concept, on a topic,
Yeah,
on a
for sure.
conversation like this, just to listen to on the drive home, to say,
Yep,
oh, all that stuff makes sense. It's way easier. Now, yes, there can be those calls for, hey, can I jump on a call for a little bit more clear context? Yeah, sure.
totally.
Here's my
Yeah,
Calendarly, but it's on my time, not their time. Because that's one thing. Like I'm,
100%.
I'm married, I got 2 kids.
Right.
I coach my son's T-ball game. My
Yeah.
daughter's got gymnastics. I'm trying to learn new stuff all the time too. I got work. Like I have to still prioritize my time as well. So, and yeah, it's like, yeah, I got that same concept where it's just like, I would love to share and talk to everybody. And like, same for my nonprofit. I would love to give everybody that reaches out and jumps into the Discord a free CompTIA certification, but
That
I'm
would be
not made out of
amazing.
money. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I need more sponsors. I need
Yeah,
you.
that's exactly, like I gave away the whole CompTIA package at the end of the year because of one of my sponsors, and I was like, heck yeah, man. Like that's just awesome.
Now, I will give an honest plug. Like, so what we did decide to do this year is with our grid funding we got for the silent auction, we are doing a CompTIA Security Plus giveaway every single month.
Every
And
month, baby.
every month. So we missed
Yes.
January because it's kind of, I guess I could still do it for January, actually, if I want
Hell
to.
yes, you can. Let's do
Yeah,
two
I'll
in
do one for
February and
January.
call
I'm
it
gonna do, yeah,
day.
that's actually not a bad idea. I have one going right now currently for February. It opened up today, and I'll make sure I
Yeah,
give you that link. I think I gave you the link, Robert.
you
But
did.
yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I can still do it for Jan. We'll
Yeah.
just do two in January. We'll
I,
do two in
I,
February.
I shared it on my LinkedIn. Everyone who's listening, please take a moment to, subscribe to gingerhacker.com or GingerHacker
YouTube.
on
Yeah.
YouTube, and then also check out gingerhacker.org, and come join our Discord, come hang out, come play. Andrew, thank you so much for coming to hang. Thank you for sharing your story. I truly appreciate you. I love what we're doing. I'm glad I get to be a part of it, and it's just been an absolute blast because we saw that there was a problem. The bar to entry is ridiculously high,
Yep.
and we're doing something about it as opposed to just complaining about the fact that it's ridiculous. Like I'm opening up entry level roles with no experience. You're helping new people get into the roles that they want, mentoring and all of that stuff. And on top of that, we're giving them certificates because not everyone has $200 or $50 or a hundred
Yeah.
bucks, you know.
Yep.
So that's awesome, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks again for coming to hang out.
So much fun, Robert. Anytime. Thanks for having me.